Washing the bad taste out of our mouths, everybody. It's Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined by my co-hosts, Lauren and Bruce. And guys, we're done with Sonic Battle, thank God. That was
Thank
8 weeks
fucking
of a
God.
game.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
crazy.
Well, we only have 1 week of game here, though, because it's Sonic Advance 3. It's a traditional Sonic game. I almost forgot what those looked like. This is the final advance game, and the longest advance game at that, with, 21 acts, I think?
You know what? It didn't feel like it, though. At least to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's...
no, that's true. There are ways to, get good length without it feeling
Right.
excessively padded. It's amazing to think that such a thing is possible.
Still a
Yeah.
little padded, but yeah.
I mean, maybe a tad, but it's better than, well, Sonic Battle.
I just mean it's padded in the sense that 2D games should not have hub worlds.
Well, yeah.
Okay, you're
Give-
right. I had
give-
to think real hard, like, what the heck are you talking about? Yes, that's true. The fairly small hubs are unnecessary.
Well, it's got hubs like Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Or, no, Nightmare in Dreamland, excuse me.
Yeah, it's just weird and needless. I have, it's like,
It
I have a
really
lot of
is.
nostalgia for this game, so I understand, like, where everything is intuitively. This was my
Right.
favorite advanced game as a kid, and it's a toss-up between 1 and 3 now, but they're still pretty good, both of them. But I understand that, like, just don't do that. There's no point.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few of the
Well,
later hubs can be a little confusing. It's nothing
Yeah.
terribly egregious, but it's enough that you
Yeah.
might spend like 2 minutes that you didn't have to.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. This game is interesting. It messes with the structure, or, well, the formula a bit. It also has my favorite visuals and audio of the trilogy. I love this game's OST so much.
This definitely does have the strongest, I don't even think out of the trilogy, but out of all of the GBA games we've covered so far.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, I definitely think it's solid. I'd have to go back and check to see how I think it's placed. But yeah, it's quite good. It's exactly what I would expect.
Yeah.
This game has, I don't know if I would say slightly more of a plot than Advance 1 and 2. It has more of a setup, I guess, which is that Eggman uses,
Yeah.
I guess, a Chaos Emerald, just one of them? I don't know. And splits the entire planet into 7 pieces to serve as the game's 7 zones.
Oh, is that what was going on?
Really?
I'm gonna be honest, I skipped the game intro because I didn't think I'd need to
It's
watch it.
not in the game intro.
Oh.
I 100% this game, and then I played it again for this podcast. I never knew that. The world split into pieces? Seriously?
Well, it's like you wouldn't know because
That's crazy.
it's just
Wait a
7
second,
zones and they're all, distinctly themed. What?
Right.
If you split
Also,
into
isn't that-
if you split the real world into 7 pieces, which part of it would become computer land?
That's a good question. Also, isn't that basically the semi-plot of Sonic Unleashed? Or like
Yes,
the
I've
same
heard
idea
that.
at least?
Yeah, it's a weird coincidence. I
Huh,
would say
interesting.
my blurry memory of Unleashed, at least, is that it did the story better because it centers around the 7 continents with their own
Right.
distinct countries and cultures.
That makes a lot more sense.
Also, it should take more than 1 emerald to do that.
Realistically, it should have been using the Master Emerald to do that.
Or just all 7, yeah.
Or all 7, whatever.
Anyway.
I cannot believe that's the plot.
That is a really
that's-
stupid plot.
ridiculous.
And I guess I'll say that again for Sonic Unleashed, because I still think that's kind of stupid.
Probably, well, yeah, it sounds like less stupid, though, at least.
Yeah, it sounds less stupid, but still sounds stupid.
Man, and here I thought this plot was, just slightly more ambitious than, like, the other advanced games. But that's ridiculous. In the actual game, if you don't, I assume that's in the manual, all you get is just the characters running on the screen.
Right.
And then Eggman does have a Chaos Emerald, that's true, that
And-
checks out.
He does a thing with the Chaos Emerald.
And he does something with the Chaos Emerald. I didn't think it was splitting the world. I thought it had something to do with a returning plot element. I will say, it's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
quite chilling when you get the intro text and playing in the background is Emerald's theme. And if you recognize that, you're like, oh.
Damn.
Yeah, and that's also,
Damn,
well,
I didn't recognize it.
spoiler alerts, the Supersonic final boss, that's the theme for that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I had the volume turned too far down.
Well, when you just start the game, that's a pretty subtle detail. The major thing you'll notice is that you choose 2 characters instead of 1.
You know what?
Right,
I
yeah.
think this is my only major complaint with the game. I don't like the partner system.
Oh yeah.
So I
I find
agree
it
with
to be
you
okay. Good.
100%,
I find it to be really clunky and really annoying.
but I get around it by just playing Sonic and Tails, and then it's like, oh, it's just like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic and 3.
So that's what
And
I was
then
initially
I
doing.
didn't even notice
Yeah,
that had a
that
partner.
that
It's
is
just
what
like,
I
oh,
was
it's just
initially
Tails.
doing. And then I swapped that over to Knuckles and Tails once I unlocked Knuckles, because Knuckles is just objectively better than Sonic in this game.
Yeah, so this game's whole gimmick is that, obviously you pick two characters. You choose your player and then your partner, and you get different abilities and move sets depending on the characters. You'll always have a tag action where you hold the R button and it'll do one thing on the ground and one thing in midair. That part's fine. I think that actually works really well because using Tails or Amy to get like a super jump is great for exploration, really. The problem for me is that it changes your normal moveset too.
Yeah,
What?
that back when I first played this game, which was actually just your copy, Devin, I
Yeah, I
messed
remember.
around with the partners and I
Mm.
was like, what the heck is going on? Why does Sonic have a hammer and he's not curling up into a ball anymore?
Or
You
how
just
about why
Huh.
made
can't
Sonic worse.
Huh.
Knuckles glide? I remember hearing that from you.
Yeah, yeah. So literally,
Oh.
that part is the only time I experimented with this game. When I came back to it, like I don't know, half a year ago or something, to
Right.
complete it in earnest, I was like, no, I'm not using partners. I
Just
just
Sonic
Sonic
and
and Tails.
Tails. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair enough.
Yeah, Sonic and Tails makes it play relatively similar to the other games. It is weird because this does fix the problem of Advance 2 of you got to use the R button tricks because only Sonic can do R button tricks, or if you have Sonic
Uh,
with you, maybe.
right. But and
Um,
so thus they're never actually required.
yeah. So they almost hit it, and it's certainly still a better partner system than like Knuckles Chaotix.
Well, yeah, that's not that hard of an achievement.
But it's mostly like it's an interesting idea that it's like, okay, I'm done experimenting with this because unless you have a couple specific character combos, they just kind of suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I will
sounds like
say
that.
it is really nice to be able to equip Cream, and then Cheese just becomes your partner for any character. That is
Right.
broken as heck, and I like it. So I can Cheese, for instance, the ridiculous. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I don't have to play Cream when I do that.
Yeah. Well, and it's like semi annoying that you still have to complete the third act of the second, fourth, and sixth stages to unlock Knuckles, Amy, and Cream as Sonic specifically.
That was really
Yeah,
annoying.
why did they carry that over? That's dumb.
Yeah, but the nice thing is that you only have one playthrough at a time in this game, and you can switch between characters whenever you want. So,
That's very nice. That actually gave me the chance to try out all the characters I unlocked.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. You don't really see that in Sonic games in general.
Yeah, the ones that have multiple characters, you always have to restart.
So that
Yeah,
is
it's like this
actually
game and
pretty
like maybe
commendable.
Rush Adventure are the only ones I can think of. And while I don't love the hub worlds, I do like that you can just do the acts out of order. So you can just get Act 3 out of the way with Sonic right when you first get to a stage if you want.
This is another feature that somehow I did not know was a thing. I always just, oh, that's the next act ring. And I never even thought to try doing them out of order. Wow, okay, interesting.
I didn't even realize you could.
Yeah, well, the only
I
time
guess
when
why
I even
not?
thought to do that was like Cybertrack, and that Act 3 is the worst with Sonic. So it's like by the time I get Cream from that, I don't even need her for anything else. Anywho, that's all these mechanics. Unless you want to talk about like the mini game gates in the stages that you can use to get lives. I don't know.
You can get lives notes. I completely ignored those because
Yeah,
what
well,
was the point? I jumped in one and I'm like, what is this? This is obviously just side content I don't care about. And I never went in another one again.
Yeah, I
to
don't
be
blame you.
fair, I ignored them because I was using an infinite lives cheat.
Again, don't blame you. Advanced Trilogy Remastered, get rid of all that. Just make all the hub zones
Well,
straight lines.
yeah,
Thank you for saying that the hub should be straight lines and not removed, because there is one saving grace, which is that this game has a ton of different mixes for each of the zone themes, including a hub world mix,
yeah,
which is really
that is
nice and chill.
that is cool.
I would like those to be used, but yeah,
Yeah.
not in anything more than just a level select, really. And surprisingly, so 3 acts per zone, right? At first I was like, oh, it's gonna be a slog, but it's really improved by having 3 different mixes for the music, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I'm not sure if any other Sonic game has done that before. Because, like, Sonic 1 had 3 acts per zone, but they were all the same. Oh, you know what? Sonic 4 does it.
Oh, interesting. I did not expect that from Sonic 4. Well, we'll get there, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. First stage, 10 minutes in, is Route 99. So we're starting off with a city level instead of green.
Yes, mad props for daring to start a game without a Green Hill-esque zone, finally. 2D game, I should say.
I'd say there's more stage gimmicks in this game than there was in Advance 2, because they've tweaked things so you're mostly not running in straight lines all the time, I would say.
Yeah.
We've got like
Yeah.
hilltop seesaws and like, well, we've got grind rails in all of these games, but yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, but most of it is not annoying. I don't know. I can't think of a better word than that.
I mean,
I don't really like the switches that are timed.
Those
that
are
somehow
kind of
show up
annoying,
throughout the
yeah.
entire game. Those are kind of annoying, but most of them don't bother me too much.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
most I would say is that this game has way less bottomless pits than Advance 2, obviously. One thing it does have a significant amount more of, though, is crushing.
I feel like it also has a lot more spikes.
It has a lot of spikes, too.
It has a lot of
honestly,
spikes, like right on the edge of a drop. So when
Yeah.
you jump onto the edge, you just get spiked right into the drop. That was real fun to get in like every fucking stage.
strangely, I didn't even notice a difference in amount of those. Like, I knew they were there, but I'm kind of numbed to, oh, there were spikes at the top of that ledge. Haha, okay, great. Like, they
See-
do that in every single game.
Well, that's the
Maybe
thing,
to
is that
less or
people
more extents.
people call Advance
And-
3 the worst designed of the games, which, again, after Skycan, I don't know how the fuck you can say that, but even if you
I
do
don't
say
think
that,
so.
it's like they're saying that about stage hazards, and I don't like being crushed, and we'll see that in, like, Stage 3 a lot of it, but overall, the fact that it's anything other than bottomless pits means that, like, okay, sure, maybe I'm getting hit more often, but the whole point of rings is to keep the pace up, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Right, yes, exactly. I definitely noticed when there were more bottomless pits. I mean, yeah, the crushing insta-kills you, but I think you have a lot better of a chance to react to crushing than a bottomless pit, at
That
least.
is true.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, playing lots of 2D Sonic games have trained me to see when there's a moving platform, I instantly like, oh, wait a minute. Is it a solid one that can kill me in one hit? Because, yeah, that's just a thing in every Sonic game that's
Right.
2D, and it's just something you have to put up with, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But given the fact that there are tons of gimmicks, I think this is the first. Well, I mean, he was cameoed in a few other games, I know, but I think this is the first, at least in a standard Sonic game, appearance of Omochao in 2D. But unlike
yeah.
in Sonic Adventure, I have to give them props. You only activate him if you want to. You don't run into him and then he starts talking, which I can't imagine that without voice acting. You just run into him and then suddenly text shows up on screen. No, he's completely optional.
Yeah, you have to pick him up. Yeah, and he's not the only Chow in this game, because I suppose I'm launching into the special stages right now, but this game is like one step forward, 2 steps back, and then another step forward from Advance 2's special stage design, where you don't have to find 7 rings in an act. Instead, you have to find 10 Chow scattered about all 3 acts and the hub world, and you keep them,
Oh.
which means that you don't have to
Okay.
find them multiple times, but you do have to find a key and then also find the spring in the hub world to go to the special state. I don't get the point.
Okay, you stole a lot of my thunder right there, but yeah, who at Dimps kept trying to one up each other, like making the worst possible Chaos Emerald collection quests? It's a whole process in this game. As you said, you have to collect a total of 70 Chow throughout the entire game in obscure locations you will definitely need a guide for. Some of them are also locked behind obstacles that are only passable with certain combination of characters as well. Yes, and then after you do that, yeah, you get keys, but you know what's great about these keys? So you have to go hunting for them again in the zones, and you get a key, and you get 1 chance for a special stage, and then you have to go get another key. So you just have to grind keys. Why? Was it not enough to collect the Chow? And then I don't understand why the key system is even there. It's confusing, and you can only hold 9 of them too, which sounds like a lot. But some of these special stages took me dozens of attempts, so I would run out of keys and be like, okay, back to the zones. Great. And I
Yeah,
think they only included hubs in this game just to hide a spring in it, just to screw you over even further.
You know what?
That's the only reason I can think of.
it's another
The
case of
special
the things you're
stages.
supposed to collect, just put a special ring there. Who cares? You already have a sprite for it because you warp out of it when you go to the hub world.
Literally. The special stages themselves, once you can finally get to them, are not like the worst I've ever seen, I guess, but they're not exactly easy. You have to pilot a plane, fly around, collect rings, evade obstacles. Although said obstacles are badniks, and if you defeat them, they actually give you rings. So it becomes a risk versus reward spiral into madness as you're like, should I try to defeat it, and then you screw it up, and then you're like, well, there goes any chance of being the special stage, because I took damage. So yeah, they certainly it has a unique cruelty to it,
Kind
but
of
I'll
reminds
still
me of the
take it over
Sonic
like half
Blast
pipe.
special stages because you piloted the plane in that too. Anyway, yeah. So
Oh,
don't know why
and
they did it like that.
I have to give or dock bonus points, I guess, for needlessly locking the boss rush behind gold ranking every single act for no reason. Why would you
That's weird.
lock the boss rush behind the all A rank? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I
gold
wouldn't
rank
have
the
done it
bosses maybe.
except for the fact
Right.
that I have a compulsion to do that one last thing because I got all the chaos levels, all the other stuff.
Of
Like,
course.
no, I'm not gonna just have one thing I don't have unlocked.
Dedication. Well,
Of course.
speaking of emeralds, when you get to the end of Route 99, hi, Emerald.
Yeah.
Well, um,
Oh, Sword of Emerald.
sort of. They
Yeah,
call them
it's not
Gemerald,
clear
I think.
exactly what this robot is. They call it Gemrel or Gemrel. I like to say Gemrel because I think it sounds funnier, but they say it's Eggman's rebuilt version of Emerald. So is that he's made with the parts, or it's the same robot brought to life again, or it's a Phi unit? What is it?
That's
Sometimes his character's
interesting.
name is written as G-Merle, which I don't even know what's up with that.
That's really stupid.
Okay, the
Yeah,
Japanese
yeah.
writing says
Fucking-
Jimeru, so I guess it's Gemrel.
Yeah, that would be Gemerald. But huh.
Once again, it's been a while since there's been a Sonic game where you have to look in the guide for the story. Man, I didn't even know there was an explanation. I thought Eggman just built it like they built the Phi units. But given how you just communicated that, I actually now think it's probably a rebuilt Emerald because they literally can't let anyone die in these series. So
Of course.
that has to be it. Plus, it makes a little more sense given the true ending, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a mini boss at the end of certain acts, but I think you have to be playing as Sonic to see him. I think that's part of unlocking characters.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, that does explain a lot. Why I
Yeah, you
stopped
didn't
seeing
see him
him like
very many
halfway through the
times.
game. He suddenly stopped seeing him like halfway through the game because that's when I started playing as Knuckles.
You know,
Well, he is also incorporated in all of Eggman's mechs, but
That is
yeah.
true.
He kind of fights like Mecha Sonic a little bit in terms of how he sort of rockets across the stage. Um,
yeah, the Gamerol fights, I don't understand why there's so many of them. Like, what's the point? He always only takes 2 hits.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Of
gets
his
better
existence in
attacks,
this
but yeah, he's never difficult.
Literally,
Yeah.
I barely ever see his other attacks because they usually kill him before he can do anything.
I didn't even kill him most of the time. Tails killed him most of the time for me.
Yeah, the partner characters in this game are as broken as you would expect them to be.
I feel like they either are like really broken or just completely brain dead. There's no in between with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's a really complex AI going on there. For all I know, they've been
Oh yeah.
reusing the same code since Sonic 2.
I mean,
Would not be
I would.
surprised.
Yeah, I would not be fucking surprised.
Yeah, every time, I guess only if you're playing Sonic. After you beat Gemerald, they sort of limp off and then hop in Eggman's mech, as you were saying. Very
Right.
awkwardly, I must say. Like, he looks ridiculous. His head is just like sticking out of the base of the hammer in this first fight.
That does
Yeah,
look
and
really
yes, it's
silly.
another Egg Hammer, of course it is.
Of course, it's a Sonic Advance game.
Yeah, this one just sits in the middle of the arena and tries to smack you from either side, and you have to run under him to get across.
Perfectly fine. Definitely not offensive. All
Yeah,
I'd really expect of a first
Yeah.
boss.
but I have noticed that Eggman's iframes are a little longer in this game, and it makes me feel like they're playing further toward the adventure style of hit him when he exposes his weak point.
Maybe.
I was not really bothered by it.
I didn't. I gotta say, I didn't really notice it either.
Because in the adventure games, it's you hit them and then you have to wait for a while. In this game, it's just preventing you from just annihilating him like you can in the
Yeah.
classic games.
Yeah.
In this fight, you probably
Yeah,
can only get
it's
one
fine.
hit in, but it's
Well,
just
and you get extra catharsis from it because this game is the first advanced game to have voice acting, and so you hear Eggman go ah each time you hit him, and he goes, "You're going to pay for this!" when he runs away at the end.
that's pretty great.
That is pretty nice.
And I should note then that this is the final game to utilize the original adventure voice cast. So this is the end of Ryan Drummond as Sonic, Dean Bristow as Eggman, who would die in 2004, 2005, I want to say. But yeah, no, this is the last game for the adventure cast. And I suppose they do a
It's
fine
funny. I
job for
didn't
what
even
few
know,
voice clips
given
they
the
have.
crushing of the audio quality.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they still try their best, clearly, but we're gonna move to the 4Kids cast next week. So yeah, Zone 2, Sunset Hill. Oh, now here's the green stage.
so yes, it is funny that they just moved to the second zone, and I have to say, I am extremely impressed by this remix of Green Hill Zone. Most of the time, I hear a Green Hill remix, and I'm like, ugh, kill me. I've heard this song a billion times. But something
It is-
about this one,
It is a good remix.
it sounds very triumphant.
Yeah.
Well, they
It's
they
just
shifted it
very
to a
energizing.
minor key for certain points of it. Makes it a little more
Hmm.
intense.
And though it is on, maybe this might even just be Green Hill when the sun is setting. Who knows? You know, the sunset does look great, and they have this really interesting sort of pattern structure where there's like wooden platforms over like the top of a lot of the stage, so you're not actually in the grass a lot of the time. So
That's true.
and there's lots of platforms and stuff. So
You know, a lot of
That does
scaffolding.
help.
yeah,
That does kind of help with it not feeling too much like a Green Hill ripoff to me.
I feel like they just had to meet their quota, and they did pretty good this time.
Yeah, it's not too egregious this time.
Everything looks good in evening light.
It's the
Real.
vaporwave stage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. I don't even know what vaporwave is, but I saw you posted on the Discord like, "Oh, there's a vaporwave stage," and I'm like, "What is he talking about?" I'll figure it out
The
later.
best part was Devin didn't even know what stage I was talking about. Apparently.
I
Yeah,
thought
Devin's
you were talking about
comment confused me
Cybertruck or
further.
Toy Kingdom or something.
Yeah, no. Why would either one of those be vaporwave?
I don't know, man. Anyway,
Well, not just me, at least. Okay. I forgot to mention it back in general comments, but I'm gonna point it out now that this game appears to take a leaf out of the comics or Sat AM because,
Oh.
surprise, all the badniks are powered by a ring in this game.
Oh.
yeah, no flickies in this game, is there?
Yeah. I just kind of. To be honest, I didn't really put that together while playing the game.
It's pretty nice, actually.
That
I
is
like
kinda
I like
cool.
getting a little bit of a reward from beating a badnik. No, points don't count. Nobody cares about points.
No, getting an actual ring. That's like, especially if you have if you have no rings.
True.
It is an actual nice little reward.
Yeah, again, pacing.
Mm-hmm.
There is one thing that I truly hate about this stage that becomes a staple of the rest of the game, which is these springboard air puff things that you have to time your jump on, and I swear there's like 1 or 2 frames of lag that makes it so I can never hit them on the first try.
Oh, those, yeah.
It's like there's not
Those-
really a
mm.
consequence, it's just annoying.
I must say, there is a gimmick later that involves timing that irks me way more than that. I only really encountered those a few times, and you can easily just get past those with, a flying character, or if you just launch
Sure.
yourself up. So
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's not really a harmful thing. It's just like, why stop it? Just make it a spring.
I don't know. It adds to the variety a little bit. It never gave me any problems, but I guess if it would be problematic, that would be kind of
Alright.
annoying.
The boss of this stage is a little bit jank. It's Eggman in a big rolling ball, or perhaps a cylindrical tire, moving around a sloped, looped arena.
I struggled with this fight for a while.
I used to be able to do this lickety split. I don't know what happened. I couldn't do it right. It took me like 3 tries.
Look, as we get older, our brains get slower.
I guess so. I didn't have too much trouble with this. Honestly, it doesn't. It's not like forcibly stalled out, or it doesn't feel unfair in any real way.
Okay.
So I have to give it. I have to give it props. It's because it's an interesting idea. I kind of like it.
I think it's just the way that he moves is really weird and kind of like weightless. Where like if he hits the button in the center of the arena that makes the platform come up, he'll just shoot backwards in a way that doesn't feel natural. And if he gets like stuck on the ceiling, he'll just kind of stay there. Like it grips the ceiling, I guess, but it still also moves faster downward. So I don't
I
know.
always thought it was like magnetic or something, and Eggman could also obviously propel it around.
Yeah, maybe. I ended up scoring hits on this with Tails because he just got in the way enough because the hitbox is really weird. Like you can have this thing moving and you can hit it in what does not look like the cockpit at all and it'll count as a hit. But yeah, it's not like super hard. It's just again weird. I do like that you
Yeah.
go to the friggin' aesthetic rainbow zone whenever you beat a boss.
Yeah,
I don't
that was.
understand the
I don't
point.
understand
It's
it
very
either.
weird.
It's fucking weird, but I
I
do
mean,
enjoy it.
within the context of the story, I assume this is like some kind of Stargate scenario. I don't know.
What? I
What?
just thought it was a stylish zone finish.
I don't know.
That's
Maybe that
it.
is what it is. It's not like they exposit on it.
Look, I didn't even know this game had as much plot as it did playing it. I never gave these
Because
Fair.
it doesn't
finishes much
matter.
thought.
I mean,
Okay, but
yeah.
there is some built-in plot though, because knock knock, it's Knuckles if you're
Oh
playing
yeah,
Sonic.
you get him in a
Um,
zone.
and I really like the exchange where Knuckles comes up and says, "What's going on now, Sonic? Maybe you can use my help." And Sonic's just like, "Ah, thanks, but no thanks," and just leaves.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Sonic
way
just dips out.
the way they have him slide off the screen and Knuckles is still there and it just ellipsis is very funny.
That is
Yes.
funny.
That's the way that you do Knuckles for comedy right, is that you play into his sort of he's got kind of a not macho thing, but he's got kind of a he's got a confidence streak in him, but he and
Right.
Sonic butt heads, so
Yeah.
love Knuckles.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I love him even more using him with Tails because if you have Knuckles as your main and Tails as your partner, he gets a double jump into his glide, and it is the most useful thing in the game. Like, if you want to explore, if you want
Yeah.
survivability, you gotta take Knuckles with Tails. It's great.
Yeah.
Don't take Tails with Knuckles, though, because it destroys his flight, so he can only glide, but he can't climb walls. So it's like, why would you
Oh.
even bother?
Yes,
Huh.
some of the combos are just straight nerfs. It's baffling.
Yeah. Anywho, that leads into the third stage, Ocean Base, which is like the most depressing like impression you get at first of any 2D Sonic level. Like you get into it, it's like, oh, it's dark and the music is kind of dour, and it's like, oh, what happened here? And there's like oil waterfalls in the stage or the hub world. I don't know what those are exactly, but you can jump up them.
Maybe you got that impression.
I'm just saying, like,
Um,
the first impression. Once you get into the stage and the
Right.
music starts ramping up, I fucking love it. I actually really love the aesthetic and music in this stage.
oh
Hmm.
yes, yes. This
Yeah.
is perhaps my favorite set of tracks in the
Hmm.
stage. It is so hype, techno perfection, I must say. And
Wait,
yeah, I guess this is the seventh of the world according to plot, but I don't buy it. This is obviously just an underwater Eggman base. Which is this the first underwater Eggman base that we've seen?
first that I can't think of many
Yeah.
underwater bases in Sonic in general. It's like I can think of Aquatic Base in '06, but that's the only thing that comes to mind immediately.
Okay, then Advanced 3 definitely gets points for that because everyone loves an underwater base.
Huge Crisis is
Yeah.
partially underwater, but there's no actual water in it. Anyway, yeah, no, I like it, and it's well, I love the aesthetic and the atmosphere. You really feel that you're like far below the surface of the ocean and also in danger. And I guess you feel the sense of danger from the level too, but I kind of dislike the level design. Act 2 in particular is one of the worst in the game because you start with this huge underwater section you can fall into from really high up in the stage, and it basically resets you to the beginning of the level if you do. And it's also full of crushing hazards.
Yeah, yeah. Act 2 is definitely the most annoying because of what you just said. There was a part briefly like that in Sunset Hill 2, but not quite as egregious. I don't understand why you're just being sadistic when you have a set of challenges that if you fail, you go back to the beginning. Unless of course you've built the entire game around that. But I would never play such a game. Either way, yeah. The rest of it though, you've got like these like worm enemies that pop out of the wall and it just hits you, and I'm like, oh okay, haha, not very funny game. The crushers, yeah, you're not the best, but I don't know. The music does it, and the stage is not so bad, so I have a good time when I'm here for the most part.
Part of it is that even if a stage kills you a lot in this game, compared to something like Advance 2, if you die to the big-ass wheel thing in Sky Canyon, which we not so recently learned, it really does have 2 hitboxes that kill you with the hand. But if you lose all your lives to that, you are reset to Sky Canyon 1. Whereas in this game, if you get a game over on every act, you just restart from that act. That's the benefit of the hub world. So like that makes it actually worth it in some ways.
That is true.
You could just have infinite lives, and then you can just restart from a checkpoint.
Well,
like
yeah.
a sanely built game.
Yeah, that's why if you're struggling on a boss, then it's just a load of busy work to run back there over and over. But
this becomes relevant later, but now it's not a huge problem. Yeah.
Yeah, for right now, the boss of Ocean Base it's like, it gives me a moment of, like, Sonic Advance 2, PTSD, because it looks a lot like the frog boss from Egg Utopia, but it's not. It's just a chump. You just land between its legs and then smack it from underneath, and that's it.
That was a really underwhelming fight.
It's incredibly pathetic.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, like, what's supposed to be dangerous about it?
So there is another part of this zone that will come back more prominently later. There are a number of platform escort parts, not super long, but just across like a room or something. And if you fall down, you just have to go back to the start of the room. It's not too bad.
Oh yeah, there's 1 or 2 of those in there.
But it is foreboding for the future, and it made me realize: is it just me, or is Sonic like too fast in this game or too slippery?
I am glad you brought this up.
Yes, Sonic is very slippery in this game.
So, a interesting, kind of weird mechanic that Sonic Advance 2 introduced is that progressively, as you gain more rings, your character's speed, their top speed and their acceleration will increase.
Okay.
In this game, they broke it. So for some reason, going above 10 rings puts you at the maximum amount of acceleration.
Okay.
Okay, that explains a lot.
I have heard people complain a lot about this. It's not the hugest deal to me, but I can feel it, and it's weird whenever it kicks in.
I will admit, I struggled with that a little bit, because it did oftentimes feel like Sonic or Knuckles were really gliding around on the ground.
Yeah, it makes your friction feel a little slippery.
Yeah.
It definitely makes it hard to do precise platforming.
Yes.
But that may explain why, as I mentioned before, when I went for gold rank, it's actually not that hard in this game. It's pretty easy to get the required timings. Perhaps I have that to thank for it.
Yeah, so, there's still interesting hacking and decompilation work being done with these games right now, so maybe we'll see proper fixes to that, or at least learn why it happened in the near future. Maybe it will by the time this video comes out, I don't know.
Right.
Anywho, Stage 4, Toy Kingdom, which is like, they saw Music Plant in Advance 2 and thought, we can do that again.
It really does feel a lot like Music Plant, doesn't it?
Although, ironically, it has better music.
Oh, yeah, quite a bit better.
It is this fantasy, like, toy castle environment that cannot exist in the normal setting for Sonic, but I like it.
It's an amusement park. Let's go with that.
Sure. I'll tell you, in middle and high school, I was not majorly, but I was a bit of a creepypasta teen fan, and this totally reminds me of the fucking vomit color Happy Land from LSD Dream emulator.
Oh.
But it's more coherent than that.
Yeah, I would say they hit the vibes pretty well. There are a lot of elements that solidify it as the Toy Kingdom. There's happy spinning panda cups that are just adorable. There's tons of silly badniks like trios of marching soldiers and piggy banks
that
even
suck in your rings.
that suck in your rings. That's
Yeah,
pretty clever actually.
that is clever.
The
And of course
spikes.
the whole color. Okay, yeah, the spikes. So
Oh, I think I
you
know what
know
you're
the
talking
thing
about.
that really irks me that launches you up in this game? It's not those like accordion
Is it the
springer thingers or whatever.
is it the
It's
Jack
the
in the
Jack in the
Boxes?
Box. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I played through this game the first time, I did not understand what the difference was. I literally thought it was a coin
Oh.
flip as to whether it's going to come up a spike, it's going to come up a spring. I could not tell that, no, there's actually a color on the box. I hope it's not just me who didn't notice that.
I think if I had a Game Boy Advance without a backlight, I probably wouldn't have noticed it. That's the most consolation I can give you.
Well, whatever. I just did these over and over and over until eventually I got it correctly, and it was very annoying. But yeah, hey, it's kind of poetic. Bruce, I wonder which gimmick you had trouble with that launches you up that neither of us did.
No, it was the Jack in the Box.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. When I said the spikes, I wasn't even talking about those. I was just going to mention that it's cute that the spikes in this stage that are normal spikes are just groups of pencils.
Oh, yeah. That is funny.
I do love that idea of, the big toy kingdom, but also it's incredibly lethal.
Well, I just figure it's just, an Eggman. Is this
Yeah.
a base? I don't know. It's probably an amusement park.
It's an amusement park that he did the mechanical work for that he's repurposed now that Sonic is here.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. So that checks out. But yes, I too enjoy Happy Fun Lands of Death. Those are classic. Although I do not enjoy. So we talked about crushing. I think it's kind of at its worst here in the small passageways with blocks
Oh,
that slide
yeah.
between them.
Yep.
It always gets me. I never see it coming when, okay, there's a block that's moving me up. Let me just walk off the side of the block as it's about to move past the ceiling, and then I just barely scrape my head against it, and the game says, no, you're dead now.
Yeah, the collision. That's something that
Yeah.
seeped into like Sonic 4 and even like the mobile remakes by Christian Whitehead have a little bit of that.
Oh, yeah, no. There is a part I will always hate in Titanic Monarch, Sonic Mania, with, like, the pistons. It's like it slices you in half. It's really weird. The game should have a check where if you were, like, half hit, it just hurts you instead of killing you. Like, I think that would make sense.
I mean, I think
And it
that
just pushes
crushing
you.
just straight up shouldn't kill you in the first place, but maybe that's a philosophical difference.
Yeah, but I'm saying at the very least,
yeah,
that shouldn't
there should be
kill you.
degrees of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, mostly fun level, but I definitely agree that the moving blocks, just if they're meant to be platforms, just make them something you can jump through.
Yeah.
Boss for this stage is a Jack in the Box all its own that shifts between different attacks where it really is like you were saying, where it's General as a missile and now it's General as a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So at the start of this boss, when the clown head pops up and General is the nose, like, I literally laughed out loud. It's just hysterical. I don't understand what General's even doing in these contraptions, but the fact that his head sticking out of some random part is comedy gold, I must say. There is a single attack that is justified, though. As you said, he does rock it out at one part. This is like the only boss in the game, aside from the obvious one at the end, where General being there makes any degree of sense.
Yeah, which is ironic because lots of other things about this boss don't make sense. Which is to say, it just flings the toy soldier enemies at you the whole time on like a set loop, and that is really annoying.
I like it. It feels like the boss is just throwing everything at you. Because, yeah, there's that, and then it cycles between the other attacks. And it's just like, you never know what's going to come out and try to kill you. And I do enjoy that you don't hurt the boss, although it's not clear that you don't hurt the boss, which that would have been nice if it
No,
made
it
that
looks
a
like
little
it's
more
taking
clear.
damage normally.
Yeah, all you have to do is just make it not flash, and then it would have been pretty clear. Like, there's a boss in Sonic 3 that does the same thing.
The
and it doesn't-
golem.
Yeah, it doesn't flash, and so I know, it didn't take damage. Pretty clear. For some reason, they didn't take notes from that boss, because it's the same idea. Yeah, you push the Jack in the Box off the side. And it is funny. I must say, it doesn't make any sense, but it is funny when it's just hanging off the side, just barely. and then it falls off eventually. And when you beat it, General is actually like hanging from the side of the Eggmobile when Eggman flies away, which is a cute detail.
That is funny.
Yeah, he shows more personality in these sprites than he did across the entirety of Sonic Battles dialogue. That's not true. Now that I'm saying that, I'm not sure I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a pretty spicy take.
They actually used him for comedy okay in that game, but I like him in this game either way. I think that his sprites are funny. Anywho, snow level, and it's my favorite snow level because I like this more than the ones in Advance 1 or 2, because we have like... Oh, really?
I have to say Advanced Ones is better because it's just, well, aesthetically at least. I like just like the snowy winter forest. The 2 and 3 have like tons of structure and stuff in them, so it feels like you're marring the pretty view. But gameplay, you might have it.
I got 2 words for you about Twinkle Snow. Aurora Borealis. That's what you need more of in the aesthetic.
That was cool to see.
Yeah, that was nice.
Is there actually, like, buildings in Twinkle Snow? I don't even know if I saw those.
Well, there are, like, minecart tracks or whatever.
Oh, yeah, it's built on a mine. That's right. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Also, I don't understand why there are, like, multicolored crystals all over the place. It's a little strange.
That's what they were mining, I assume.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird because this is like our second water level after Ocean Base, but a ton of the time you spend in the water is just spent in minecarts that go in and then out of the water. But I don't know. Other than that, it's fine. I guess I don't have a ton of interesting things to say about the level design. It's, again, I love the music, but
yeah.
There are these ice launchers that you have to go through, and your character looks absolutely shocked when they're shot through them, which is always comedic.
I should be shocked.
If you got frozen in real life, you wouldn't be super chill. Okay, that was a terrible... I didn't even do that on purpose, and I realized as soon as I said it.
You would be chill about it.
God damn it.
The penguin badniks level up their style, and they wear top hats in this stage.
Oh, yeah. Do they shoot out of those hats?
I cannot recall.
They do something.
Oh, okay. You know, actually, I have to complain about 2 launch up gimmicks. One is from this zone. There are these spring-loaded platforms that you crouch down on, and it ratchets down, and then you let go, and it shoots you up. One problem, though.
It counts your partner.
Yeah, if your idiot partner comes over and starts crouching down because they're literally programmed to just do the same things you do, then you uncrouch, and then it's like, what? It didn't launch. And then it screws up the timing. It's the worst thing ever. Like, just don't have it affected by the partner. It's easy fix.
Yeah. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, yeah, that's a bit annoying, but it is far from the most annoying thing that is related to this stage. This level has the hardest boss in the game. This is... I don't know what it's called, but it's Eggman climbing a vertical shaft with floating platforms that fall. So you are constantly climbing and being chased by both Eggman and the bottomless pit below him. And, you know, that would be tough for a vertical auto-scroller on its own, but, you know, you can't hit him directly. You can try to hit him directly, but you're not going to succeed. Your ability to hit him directly is extremely limited. Instead, you have to drop the falling platforms on him, and I think they only fall when you jump. I don't think they ever fall if you don't jump. I might be wrong about that, but you're going to be moving quick enough that it doesn't make a difference. So that would be tough for a vertical auto-scroller boss on its own. But it also has a wrecking ball that directly targets you and can very easily knock you into the pit.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd have very fiery words about this boss as well, if it weren't for the fact that literally every time I saw a stupid boss in this game, I was just like, you know. And then I switched to Tails, and then I won.
Yeah, you need someone who can fly or double jump for this.
Tails-
I think I
Tails
did
are
it
not
with
fun.
Sonic, but it wasn't fun.
I tried doing it with Sonic.
I saw you.
Yeah, you witnessed me trying to do it with Sonic. That was...
Yeah, this is absurd, but the character hot swapping comes in real handy.
Yeah, again, if you could do this for Advance 2, we'd have way less complaints about it. I think we'd still complain, but...
Advance 2 also had a terrible water ball. I guess for the boss, yeah, this is... Well, no. I mean, The boss is just as bad.
I'm just
but
saying,
we
if you
can
hate any
skip
of the
it.
bosses in Advance 2, but you could just say, all right, cheese, get him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the low point in the game for me. I do not like this boss.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but it's all right. We can keep moving on. And hello, Cybertrek. What are you, the redheaded stepchild of Technobase? It's another computer
Man.
level.
Yes, I did not expect this.
This one, okay, this one feels more like internet themed than computer themed to me because it's got like pop-up ads.
Oh, maybe. I honestly don't know because they're both so abstract.
I
Which
mean, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
it's
I
like
think that does kind of fit with like an internet theme, though.
Technobase has like inner workings of a computer. Cybertrek is very much like it has an operating system because you can
Yeah,
see
it
that they are
feels more feels
Windows.
like the software. Yeah,
there are literal lines of code
right.
within the stage that you run past.
Yeah, so
That's
that's why to
true.
me it doesn't really feel like techno fuck whatever the stage was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It has different feel to it.
Yeah,
But I still love it. You do have some circuits still, but yeah, mostly just like, the abstract colored strips and all the multicolored colored lights and more hexagons, always with the hexagons. And I must say, I did like the mostly pretty chill music of techno bass, but gotta say, I actually am a bigger fan of Cybertrek's track quite a bit more. It's got a really good techno beat that just gets more and more pacey with each act.
Yeah,
It's
they,
great.
they know how to ramp it up. Like all of the Act 3s I think are my favorite in this game because it feels like the level has evolved into its final form or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
An interesting fact, I'm bringing this up now because I don't think I'll remember it by the time we do Generations. This stage's
Okay.
theme is used in Sonic Generation specifically when you use the time break skill from Sonic and the Secret Rings, which you may not even know exists in Generations because nobody uses it, but it plays a version of this stage's theme.
You just hit me with two shockers right there.
Fucking
One that
fascinating.
Generations references Advanced 3, and two that Generations references and Secret Rings. What?
Yeah,
Okay, that should be
Fa-
interesting.
just a weird fun
Fascinating.
fact.
Okay, well, back to the game at hand.
Yes.
Speaking of different generations, there are like next gen versions of badniks in this zone too. You've got like refined versions of the grabber enemies from Chemical Plant and the slicers from Metropolis.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, although ironically the slicers are way less dangerous in this stage than Metropolis.
Yeah, I
Oh yeah,
noticed that
no.
they're kind of underwhelming.
They don't make me want to quit the game. They're not placed nearly as stupidly, and they're in just a better zone. Well, we'll get to there's a problem with the zone, but at least for a lot of it, a better zone, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
The
I still
partner,
don't love gravity platforming.
Yeah.
uh, I don't really have a huge problem with it. I think it was mainly advanced where sometimes it bugged out and killed me, but it actually works correctly here, so I don't really have a gripe. And I like there is a part in one of the acts where you're just like flipping up and down, back and forth a lot. That's kind of cool.
It'll kill you less than Egg Utopia, I guess. So, um,
Yeah.
but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about when you say that there's something wrong with this stage, and I know what's wrong with this stage. It's called Act 3.
No, you're wrong. It's those darn swinging rope gimmick thingamajiggers.
Oh,
They
really? The
swing you
Clocker Balls?
around so. No, not the clackers. It's when Sonic grabs onto the ropes and he starts, or
Oh,
whatever you're
yeah,
playing,
the
spinning
Oh,
wires.
around at like lightning speed, and I cannot, to save my life, launch him one direction or the other. So it's always just a coin flip. Is it gonna launch up? Is it gonna launch down? And I'll tell you, there are parts of the zone where it's like, okay, I need to launch up. Need to launch up. Launches down. Okay. I need to launch. Nope. Launches down again. Okay. I got it this time. Nope. Like I wasted so much time just going through. It's very frustrating. I don't know. I just can't do it. It's too quickly. It's too quickly for me. No,
Yeah, I mean,
I know what you're
that's
talking about.
fair.
Actually, I had to do a bit there. Go ahead.
yeah,
I
no, you
agree.
got me. Well, it's like I remember. I think those wires were in Secret Base in Advance 1 too, as well, right?
They were not nearly as quick there, I swear. Do the rings speed up how quickly Sonic spins too?
For all I know, they might, but yeah.
Mhm.
No, yeah, that is true though, and yeah, the thing I was getting to is Act 3, because the second half of Act 3, pretty much, is a big auto-scroller section where, like with the one bit in Ocean Base, you have to ride a couple platforms as the stage puts walls and obstacles in your way, and it is annoying.
Put it mildly. It's extremely long, and unless you're at like the very beginning, if you fall, that's it, you're dead, game over. Well, not game over, unless you
True.
ran out of lives. But
Right.
Well, and what I witnessed happening to Bruce was he would get crushed at the point where you have to jump between them as there's
Yeah.
platforms coming down from the top.
oh
Yeah.
yes, that can happen too. You have to be careful about when you activate the platforms too. If you don't, okay, so this is a rare part in Advanced 3 where actually like I don't know, you'd have to have extremely quick reaction time and some luck, I think, to do this on your first try. Because if you don't activate the platforms the correct way, you can't, you'll just become stuck.
Yeah, if you don't push them in the correct order, or even if you do them too far apart, or maybe even too close together, I'm not sure about that one, but you won't be able to jump between them properly. And yeah, no, it's a bad level design choice. You know, it's not just that it's linear, it's that it's a very focused and specific challenge. If this were like something that you did to get like a cool secret, I would almost respect it. But as just a regular way to beat the stage, it feels like a ROM hack almost.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
surprisingly punishing out of nowhere.
Yeah, you need a character with good aerial mobility to not tear your hair out. And sometimes even if you do.
Yeah.
And, it's not a huge thing necessarily, but there's some gall required to put a mid-act mini-boss right after this moment. I will tell you, I most definitely did flub hit the first time and have to go back and do it again. It's just general, but he can kill you, and the fact that that can happen right after all that is not cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that really
I was
isn't cool.
gripping my keyboard when I saw Bruce get to that point because I was like, "Oh God, I hope he doesn't die and have to restart." And he didn't, but yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe redo on the third act of that one, but otherwise it's all right.
And to be
Um,
clear, yeah, there is this checkpoint before the mini boss, but I only had one life. No, don't you dare get at me, comment section. That's why I had to go back and do it.
I don't think Bruce got the checkpoint.
I
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was why I was scared he would have to redo because if he had the checkpoint, he's on full blast, infinite lives anyway. But
True.
yeah, so we go from the stage with the hardest boss to the stage with an incredibly easy boss, in my opinion, at least.
Oh yeah. This is just a weird boss mainly. Like,
Yeah,
This was an odd boss.
it's balls.
Yeah.
I mean
Boss
that
fight really
literally.
is the balls.
yeah,
He
it just lots of bouncing balls all over the place.
he shoots blue balls at you, and they only hurt you if you're just like standing on the ground. But if you jump into them, they turn orange and ricochet, and they can damage him. And he's under you, and you can't touch him. There's two platforms on the side that'll dip down into the bottomless pit if you stand on them. I have no idea what the point of those is. You just have to keep jumping.
Right.
Yeah, it's a noob trap because I didn't understand the boss at first. I was like, oh, I have to go down the platforms and hit him, and then eventually one of the balls just hit him randomly, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, really weird design decision there. But it leads to these weird like sort of clusterfuck moments where it's like, you know, you're trying to hit him, but he's moving and the ball's moving and you're moving and you don't really know how to hit it at a specific angle, especially since they go really fast when they shoot from the cannon, but then slow down as they get closer towards you. And of course, Tails can hit it too, which can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you've hit it. Your partner can.
bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I especially like the pinch mode where he just fires them non-stop.
That is hilarious, honestly.
Yeah.
It is really funny, and if you're not dying to it over and over again, it's mostly harmless, because there becomes a point where you're just bouncing from ball to ball, and your partner is, and they're still not hitting him because he's really fast.
Yeah, I never had trouble with this boss, so it just made me laugh.
Yeah, no, it's not an. Like I said, it's an easier boss than Zone 5 by a lot, but it's just so weirdly constructed.
Yeah.
It's definitely quite strange. I forgot to mention, because there's really nothing to say, but Amy did show up back in Toy Kingdom. All she said was like, "Oh, marry me, Sonic." That's it. That's all you'd expect. But
Yeah.
Cream shows up in Cybertrack, apparently just taking a walk. Like, okay, you do you, but why would you take a walk in Cybertrack
This
of
is
all
this is a
places?
commentary on how kids nowadays tend to have unrestricted internet access.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
Cream
Dimps
was
was ahead
taking a
of their
walk on
time.
some very dark forums. You know, they
Yeah,
were telling her
Sonic
other
even
crimes she
says
could
this
commit.
isn't a safe place. It's dangerous. You got to get out of here. So that just works even more.
Yeah, exactly. He's like telling her to stay away from 4chan or whatever.
Oh my god.
And I do want to mention, it is good that you mentioned it because I would have forgot this otherwise. Certain character pairings have names in this game, which
Oh
are
yeah, I
funny,
Mhm.
and
remember
they have
those.
unique sprites on the character selection screen. So if you put Sonic with Amy, she's really happy, but he's just kind of like, ugh. Um,
Yeah, that's funny.
and like if you put Sonic with Knuckles, it calls them fighting buddies, but they both look like pissed off at each other. Anywho, speaking of Knuckles, hey, the Angel Island stage is the final stage for once.
Yeah, that was strangely
Yeah.
surprising.
Chaos
It's
Angel,
interesting.
and it's weird, honestly, because like we had Angel Island stages in the previous two games, and they were just in the middle of the game, but it really completes the advanced trilogy in terms of having Angel Island stages that don't really feel like Angel Island from any other game.
For some reason, to me, this felt like Metroid.
Yeah, so I
I
literally was like, "Is this Angel Island?" And then in the stage that happens after this, it's like, "Okay, yeah, it is." But at first, it was not very clear at all.
Bruce,
It
I
wasn't.
totally get the Metroid comparison because the way that the music uses those like choir instruments
Yeah.
and like the ancient ruins, that is very like
Yeah.
Metroid Prime specifically, or
That's
maybe
very
Zero
Metroid
Mission.
Primey.
Um,
Okay,
I hadn't even thought
yes.
about that, but yeah, no,
and yeah,
that's
I
true.
love the atmosphere of this level. It's
It is
like
cool.
it's climactic, and Acts 1 and 2 are hard but fair, I would say. Um,
I would say
So,
they're just mostly hard.
yeah.
There's
okay.
a lot of bullshit in Act 1 and 2.
Yeah, I gotta run the same page there. Yeah, starting out, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is cool aesthetic," and yeah, the
Yeah.
music is very climactic sounding, but then the acts just keep going and they keep going and they
Yeah.
never
and
ever end.
they are
6
long,
minutes
I agree.
silver rank on Act 2. Or no, Act 1, excuse me. 6 minutes.
And
What
the
the
game
fuck?
says, "Oh yeah, you get a silver for that." So they know
Yeah.
exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the indoor sections are not terrible, but the outdoor sections, it's just a little bit of what makes Angel Island special, that you can fall to your doom and die in one hit.
Yeah, I guess I would believe this is part of the same island as Sky Canyon.
True.
Yeah, I like the indoor sections, but you are right. There is a lot of annoyance in the outdoor. There's also a lot of annoying buzz bomb replacement. They will hit you into the pits.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I still don't think it's the worst that it could possibly be. But it's like you take this, you remove some of the bottomless pits. Maybe you cut Act 1 and 2 in half and use the halves of those to create a real Act 3 instead of the one we got.
Yes. Act 3 is just bizarre. First of all, the music like has a seizure or something. I don't understand the decision making of the Act 3 mix. It's just all over the place, music wise. Um,
I don't know if I agree with that. That was one of my favorite tracks in the game because it takes basically the Act 1 track but adds the electric guitar to it.
I don't know. It sounds all over the place to me,
I guess maybe
uh,
the flute in the beginning is a little like that. I don't know. But
but
yes, Act 3.
yeah. So it's the only, thank goodness, auto scroller in this game. Why? No, no. Auto
It's
scrollers
just the
don't belong in
Cybertrack
my
Act 3
Sonic.
shit again, and it's the entire stage.
Oh yeah. Well, so that's true. I hadn't thought about that, mostly because I don't find it infuriating. I just find it strange. It's not, at least for me, it's not particularly difficult. It's just boring. Like, it's just an enemy
Yeah.
gauntlet, basically. At the very end, they try to, like, kill you in one hit with some spikes, but there are rings that give you hints, so I figured it out pretty
Right.
quickly.
I don't know. I don't like it either way.
Oh no, I don't like it. It's just long and boring.
Because it's
Um,
like, it's just, it's weird, especially for it to be the final stage. I think if you had swapped this in Act 2, it would still be bad, but at least Act 2 would feel like the final stage. But the fact that this is the last thing you do is like, that doesn't feel like it logically follows from a game of Sonic the Hedgehog. Because you're standing still, you're babysitting the platform.
no, yeah, like I said, autoscrollers do not belong in Sonic ever.
Yeah.
It's just a weird decision, so shame about that. And I guess I'll ask you guys: do you feel that the boss is also a shame for this stage?
The boss was odd, but not particularly hard.
Okay,
Uh,
interesting.
I mean, I'll say that the music is kind of disappointing. It's the weakest semifinal boss in the Advanced Series music-wise, I think. That's just subjective, but that's kind of generic. Gameplay-wise, no, it's a little strange, but it's
Yeah.
not that bad.
Wow, I
Not
found
that
this thing
hard.
fucking infuriating. I'm impressed with
Oh,
you two. I truly wanted to die fighting this thing.
Jesus,
Hmm.
alright.
I
Just position yourself under it, and then you hit it, and then it gets hit, and it's pretty darn easy to do that over and over.
I don't know. I struggled with this. It's a really similar boss to the Cosmic Angel from Advance 1, which is maybe intentional.
Yeah, like design-wise, sure, it's obviously evoking that, but they don't really fight the same.
No, one of them you have to hit using your thing, and the other you have to hit from the bottom by using gravity. I don't
Your
know.
partner also makes it a lot easier to recollect rings. Granted, it's still not easy,
Yeah.
but easier.
Maybe I wasn't utilizing it properly because that was my problem. Is that your rings fall through the ground on this the same as in Advance 1. I did work out something that worked for me, which is that if Knuckles is your partner, your ground tag action is to just throw him at enemies. Which is really funny, but it also is very useful for this boss because it means that you don't have to risk bouncing into the spikes by jumping at him. So, I guess kudos to you guys for not struggling as much as I did.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
but yeah, kind of a trip and stumble in this last stage.
A
Yeah,
little
that's
bit.
true.
But we're here. We're at the final red end game at Alter Angel, which I don't know why it's
Emerald,
called that.
Ultra Emerald.
Is it really called Alter Emerald? And I wrote Alter Angel.
Yeah, it is.
All right, well, I guess I'm gonna go get shot by cars.
Oh, wow.
Lightning McQueen is gunning for my ass. Anyway, yeah. So, final boss is a big mech as usual, and it's got Emerald in it.
Incorrect, because first you have to fight General, who
That's
has
true.
become really beefed up. He can teleport, got a
And he has
reflector
missiles.
shield, can shoot missiles.
Like a lot of fucking missiles.
Does he take more hits?
No, he only takes 2 hits still. Why?
Mhm. It's literally no fucking points.
They had one complete boss fight and split it across 60% of the game.
You know what? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that would be a trip. Every 2 times you hit them, they get upgraded. That would actually be a neat boss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe.
Okay, no, but yeah, there is an actual boss after that.
No,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. No. General is the final boss. That's it. No. The final boss is, of course, a big mech with Eggman and General in it, and he has hands, and it's mostly you're mostly fighting his hands.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there's
sort
like
of.
practically nothing else that
Yeah, I
it
suppose.
tries to hit you.
I mean, yeah, you punch him in the face, but
It has a little bit
Yeah,
of the Death Egg Act 2 thing where you
Yeah.
have this enormous mech, but it doesn't feel like its size is being used for a lot of things.
the fight is also like really piss easy as Knuckles.
Oh yeah, I suppose if you're double jumping up to hit him,
Yeah.
that's probably
Yeah, Knuckles. I didn't realize until that moment that Knuckles' double jump was also a Shoryuken. So I beat that fight like in 30 seconds.
No, I mean that's the strength. They want you to do things like that, so it's valid.
And then I had to go play it again as Sonic.
Yeah.
I have never once beaten this boss without cheesing it, and I do not intend to try. It
No,
was an
I
ordeal to
cannot
hit it
blame you.
once, and then I had no rings, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this again 8 times or whatever. The thing is, the hands don't stay in place for very long at all. and yet the game expects you to use them as platforms, or better yet, like deadly bouncing orange spheres. Like it's very precise, and it doesn't help because, well, I mean, I guess probably you wouldn't have a lot of rings in this fight, so you wouldn't be as slippery, but it's still very precise. Yeah, it's incredibly difficult.
For me, it's the
Platforms also
fact
fall
that,
away.
yeah, he can destroy the ground.
Yeah, that
I
was.
do not like bottomless pits in boss fights, I guess, ever.
Yeah. Well,
No,
it's
that's just not
stupid.
good.
Yeah, so pretty mixed on that final boss. But this is, of course, not the final boss. This game has a true final boss, and still no supersonic in normal gameplay. What are you, 5?
Yeah.
We already complained about the emerald mechanics, as you'd expect, but there is a true final boss where General goes crazy. I don't know why specifically. Is it something emerald related?
I don't
So
know.
I don't know, but let me just say for the record that collecting the Chaos Emeralds only serves to make the situation worse in this game. Like, if you don't collect the Chaos Emeralds,
That's
General's just
true.
defeated normally. But if you have them,
Yeah,
you don't
that's
like use
true.
them to go super against the threat. You use them to create the threat and then go super against the threat. Like, it's
Huh.
very strange.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's
Huh.
weird, but it does lead to something I think is hilarious, which is that obviously Sonic goes super for this final boss. That's obvious,
Right.
but your partner in this fight is Eggman,
That was
and
kind of funny.
you
It
fight the
is
boss by slamming him into it.
teamwork.
That fight took me like probably almost 2 minutes to figure out before I could even get my first hit off.
Yeah, this is.
This is a dog shit fight.
I'd say it's better than Advance 1 and 2 by way simply of it giving you lots of rings.
Yeah, that's fair. Other than
I
that,
did not
though,
feel like I was going to die, and I mean that's all. That's the only standard that I can judge these bosses by, because I kind of hate all supersonic bosses like this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know
yeah,
if I've said it on record before, but it's very strange, completely switching up the gameplay for the final challenge of the game. You get no chance to get used to it. Not that it feels good either. It's nice to be invincible and all, but there's something irking about getting just slapped around a whole bunch and not taking damage. It almost feels worse in a way.
yeah,
Yeah, because it can compound, and you can feel like you don't have real control over anything.
Yeah, I guess at least normally you would just die eventually and then be like, okay, but in this, no, you just can get hit over and over. Maybe that's what it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, not great, especially when I swear there are phases of this boss where it's just impossible to hit him. Like they go adventure mode a little bit here where you just can't always hit him.
Yeah, you have to very specifically hit him on like the little. It looks like a crab mouth or like a spider jaws or something. The little hatch that opens up to his weak point. But you have to slam Eggman into that and then charge Sonic into it, and it is a really tight window to be able to hit it. And there are long phases where the boss will just have some attack going that is just in front of it. So
Yeah, or it'll spin around a whole lot. I really
yeah,
like that part.
this thing. Do you guys remember the Simon handheld? Like the game that's just colored buttons.
Sure.
oh,
Yeah.
It looks like
yeah,
one of those.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so I guess if we're talking about the design, this is a very strange design for like the super powered form of General. Like, really? This? It's just like a weird looking box thing with like spindly arms.
I've,
Yeah, it's like the overloaded Emerald in Sonic Battle was just Emerald with some shocky blue shit.
right.
um, this is he transforms into four of his head stapled together. I don't know.
Who
Bizarre.
knows?
And to add to this weirdness, either the name of the monster or the name of the fight is called non-aggression. What do you mean?
Well, that's just because there's no aggression between Sonic and Eggman because they're allied.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That makes
maybe.
sense.
There's gonna be a weird thing like that next week too, though. So,
Oh yeah, those ones are a lot stranger.
but yeah, slow boss, easy if you play carefully, but yeah, not really climactic. I do love, we mentioned the Emerald theme as the music, and I do love that.
Yeah, that's great. I got that in reverse because I played Advance 3 before Sonic Battle, and so it was like, oh, that's cool to hear it in Sonic Battle. But yeah, it's cool to reuse riffs like that.
Yeah, it's leitmotifs. You know,
Yeah.
which the Sonic series, like throughout the games up to this point, it hasn't had a lot of those because either it was Nakamura has copyright on this, so we can't use it for everything, or it was like in the adventure games where Senoi would be like, well, we'll use a different instrument or style for each character, but not the same themes necessarily. But as we get into like some of the later games, starting with like '06, they do ramp up the sort of leitmotifs for characters, which I like. Anyway, that doesn't matter for right now. For right now, the game is finally over, and we get more nice pixel art.
Yeah.
The day is saved, the world is returned to normal, and the broken general washes up right next to Vanilla's house, which I don't remember her living by the sea, but okay.
He does now.
I guess we
Got
never
a
saw
nice
their
beach
house in
house.
advance too. I'm thinking Sonic X, but
In Sonic Heroes, they were at the beach at start, so they could have been by Cream's
Oh,
house.
there you go.
that's a good point. Fair enough. But yes, General washes up. Tails just arbitrarily gets it working again, and now General is the protector for their family, I guess.
Yeah, so
Fair enough.
this, originally I was like, what? Okay, they're just friends with General now because I don't know, it makes no sense. But given the manual, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be like the reincarnation of Emerald, and so
Right. I'm
finally
guessing.
they get to
Yeah.
live a nice life.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess if I had to choose something, he bonded with Cream a fair amount in that game, I suppose. But it's
Yeah,
just
I mean, yeah.
it's a bit of a ship of Theseus scenario because I don't know how much of the original robot is left in here.
I would assume he's got like he got some amount of programming in there.
Maybe? I don't
At the
know.
very least, they go crazy when exposed to Chaos Emeralds, so like there's something
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. But yeah. So this is funny though because this is the only game that General is in. But he is definitely
Oh.
canonically still around with Cream and Vanilla because they put him
Oh.
in like the comics and stuff. And even talks in those, which is weird. It's funny, when they were doing post reboot Archie, they put him in there, and they were like, "We'll give him this sort of cocky attitude, sort of like Emerald had." And then by the time we get to IDW, Sega finally said, "Here's what his voice is supposed to be like," and he's just much more of a normal robot personality. But it's like that's how little of this guy we had for someone that is supposed to still be around technically.
Right.
That's funny, and I'll have to judge it when I get to the comics, but that's a shame. That the first take sounds better because it supports what I'm already theorizing anyway.
Yeah, well, they also wanted to do that because they couldn't use Shard for anything anymore, but that's a whole different thing. So that is Sonic Advance 3, and it was definitely better than 2.
That's not difficult.
Yeah, I would question whether this is better than 1. It's a toss up for me. I think 1 is probably the tighter game. It definitely has less overtly
Yeah.
horrible parts,
I
but
think that's a fair take, honestly.
I think that
Uh,
Advance 3 has a lot of it hits higher highs for me personally at least.
That's
it's
yeah.
it's hard to say. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a mix up. I think it would be really nice if I could just play as the character solo.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
nice.
that would be a great elevator of the quality, I think. But I don't know. They both kind of have stage design wise. The end of Sonic Advance was kind of stupid, and this game doesn't have like a whole zone. Well, I don't know. Chaos Angel was pretty bad. I don't know. Yeah, I can't really decide. I think they're both pretty good, and I will not pick a favorite objectively. But of course, if I'm just being biased, obviously I'm more nostalgic for Advance One.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, it's decent. I'll give it a pass. I certainly after everything that we've been through for the last couple months now, this is the best game we've played in a very long time.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
And I am glad to be vindicated because I am so perplexed by people who say that Advance 2 is better than 3. How can you say that? Like, I was like, okay, well, maybe by the time that I get to Advance 3 and I see some of the level design of the controls people are complaining about, I'll get it. No, I don't get it. How? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I feel like if you like Advance 2, you have to love Advance 3. It's not possible to like Advance 2 and not like Advance 3.
It's like I watched so many of Some Call Me Johnny and Clement J64's videos back in the day, and they both said, "Oh yeah, Advance 3 is my least favorite of the trilogy." And I was like, "Oh, I probably can respect that opinion." I cannot respect these men anymore. They have to die.
Okay, let's
What were
not
their
go that
reasons?
far.
They have to roll a die in Minecraft, and the die lands face up, and it says "bad opinion loser," and that's what I mean.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
It's fine.
Well, I'm sorry. I hope I don't get committed to an institution for that. But in any case, that's it for Advance 3. And next time on Deep Dive Zone, we're moving into a new era, even though I'm not counting it as part of the new era or not, even though it should be. But we're talking about another fast game that I seem to remember having a questionable endgame, but again, maybe we'll see. We're talking about Sonic Rush. It's Sonic Rush.
It's a video game.
It's more nostalgia, it's more good music.
Oh yeah.
It's more gravity platforming. I don't know. It should be a fun time, hopefully.
More plot setup that will be confusing later.
Oh boy, will it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to find us elsewhere, there is a link tree in the description and also shown on screen here where you can find our various places. I'm trying to get Blue Sky account set up because, holy god, I need to get away from Twitter, so hopefully that'll be up by the time this is out. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you next Sunday for another episode. Have a great night, and take care.